America elected the highest number of Republican women ever. They are strong leaders in our conference, and particularly on important days like today, we are so grateful for their effective advocacy to get this bill across the finish line. Today, we will pass this historic legislation to protect women and girls in sports. Thank you so much to the incredible work. I know that there are so many personal stories, and in addition to these wonderful women members of Congress, we have tremendous women athletes who are here with us today who have talked about just the unfairness when it comes to biological males competing in women's sports. If you talk to women leaders today, so many had opportunities when it came to sports growing up. I myself played varsity lacrosse. I also rode crew in high school. And to have that opportunity to learn leadership, to learn discipline, to learn teamwork is so, so important. So this is about protecting women's sports now and into the future. And we anticipate this will be passed today, and it is a winning issue across America, standing up for the future of women and girls. You're going to hear from a number of our amazing women members. I want to first start off by introducing Beth Van Dyne from Texas.
Just this past weekend, the Lady Mustangs soccer team of Grapevine High School in North Texas won their school's very first state championship. The Lady Mustangs soccer team made history for their school, and we could not be more proud of them in the 24th Congressional District. Their team is made up entirely of biological girls, just as it should be. And the team they played in the championship match is also made up entirely of biological girls, just as it should be. We celebrate both teams, the training, the long hours, the hard work that all of these girls put into being able to compete at their very best and at the highest level. And this is exactly what we want to protect. Biological girls being able to fairly compete against other biological girls in the sports they love. That we must be even talking about passing the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act shows how stark raving mad leftists have perverted what should be a very simple subject. Biological women and girls should only be competing against other biological women and girls. And I don't care how many surgeries you have, I don't care how many chemicals you put into your body, you're not going to be a biological woman. Anyone who claims to be a feminist or believe in what feminism was founded upon should proudly stand with us and vote for this bill to protect and preserve women's sports for real biological women and girls. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to introduce, Virginia Fox from the great state of North Carolina is here with us. Come on, Virginia.
Come on, Virginia. Yay.
Yeah, just the chairwoman of the committee.
Yes, Chairwoman Virginia Fox, our wonderful Chair of Education and Workforce.
Thanks. Republicans have this wonderful way of scheduling three things at the same time around here. So sorry. Today's passage of H.R. 734, the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, will be a monumental win for women and girls across our country. The perverse biological fantasies of the left are both dangerous and a direct threat to women's sports and all female athletes across our country. And the Biden administration's doubling down on this insanity by pushing regulations that will upend the laws 20 states have on the books protecting women's sports. Harm is being done to women athletes, and the American people know this is wrong. So House Republicans took action to support and protect the women and girls who've come so far to get much deserved recognition for their athletic achievements. This legislation is the first step towards restoring integrity and fairness in women's sports. The strides of women in sports should never be sacrificed to appease the radical woke mobs on the left. Women and girls will win today. Let's not forget that. Thank you.
We will next hear from Diana Harshbarger from Tennessee.
Thank you, Elise. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today, and I join my colleagues in supporting this Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. No woman should ever be denied an opportunity, a scholarship, or a place on the podium because a biological male is competing against them. Under this legislation, it will ensure that Title IX will protect women as it was intended. Federally funded schools that allow men who are pretending to be women, that's not a movie I want to be in or even watch, to participate in all-female sports will be faced with a Title IX violation. This bill is a win for women, our family values, and it will save women's sports. You know, this Biden administration is waging war on women. Make no doubt about it. The very class of biological females that they want to uphold with abortion rulings and things like that, they are coming after you girls. They're coming after all our children. And we have to protect our young girls from gender extremists who seek to destroy all the progress we have made. And as a healthcare provider, I can tell you this. They cannot change a person's DNA. And I am proud to support this bill, and I am going to welcome my colleague from Arizona, the great Debbie Lesko.
Thank you very much, Diana. You know how great it is to have all these Republican women Congress members here. I am so excited, and to have young women in the sports that are here supporting us. It is truly a great day. You know, for decades, women have fought for women and girl rights, okay? We fought for the right to vote. We fought for the right for Title IX so that women and girls could have some equalness in competing in sports. And who would have thought that all these years later, that we would have our Democratic women colleagues join with a male president who is fighting against women's rights. This is outrageous. This is crazy. This is dangerous. This needs to stop. So it's we, the Republican women and men in Congress, who are putting forth this legislation to make this insanity stop. Republicans care about women. Republicans care about girls. It is the Republicans today who are protecting women and girls' sports. It's time to stop men from participating in women and girls' sports, and that day is today. And with that, I want to introduce this fantastic woman, Congresswoman from Minnesota, Michelle Fischbach.
Well, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. And Title IX created equal opportunity on the basis of sex, and it revolutionized women's sports, but that's under threat today. There are biological differences between men and women. Ignoring these differences and allowing biological men to participate in women's sports puts women and girls at an inherent disadvantage and robs them of the rewards for their hard work and perseverance. The bill we are voting on today protects women and girls in athletics and strengthens the amazing progress made by Title IX. I am proud to support this legislation. I am proud to protect women's sports, and in doing so, continuing to support opportunities for women and girls. And I would like to turn it over to the amazing Representative Lisa McClain.
Thank you. And thank you, Chair Stefanik, for holding and shedding light on this critical issue today. I'm very frustrated. This is a very passionate and emotional piece of legislation for me because as a mother, as a woman, as an athlete, and as a parent of both 2 children who are women and 2 children who are men, I think somebody needs to get a little bit of logic and sanity back into America today. I want to start off by saying that as a female member of Congress, I am appalled that we are having to defend women in women's sports. That's crazy. Listen, I am a live and let live person. You can be whoever you want to be. If you want to be a transgender, that is, that's your right. But what about my rights? What about the rights of my daughters? That is where we've lost our mind, right? Title IX was supposed to be the saving grace, but the radical left has thrown that to the wayside by allowing biological men to play alongside women. Women. We have erased the meaning of equity and fairness, right? How many times do we hear equity and fairness, but we only talk about that equity and fairness when it fits their narrative. Not to mention what it means to be a woman, which is interesting to me since my friends on the other side of the aisle like to talk about a level playing field and the need for women's rights. I guess that doesn't matter anymore when partisan politics are at play. And let's not forget one of the most disgusting parts of this whole thing is the allowing of biological males to compete against women. The new norms in our locker rooms. Young girls, think about this. Young girls are being exposed to male genitalia and have to undress themselves and expose their own bodies to these biological males. Let's stop distorting reality. It's beyond disgusting, and I cannot believe that we are subjecting girls to this kind of exploitation. Makes me sick to my stomach. And that's why I strongly support the protection of women and girls in sports acts, because our country sadly needs it. Thank you, and with that, I am proud to share the stage with my beautiful, tall, she's small, but man, does she play big, Marionette Miller-Meeks.
Lisa, I don't even know if I can rise to the occasion after that. Thank you. Representative Marionette Miller-Meeks from Iowa. I also happen to have been a nurse and a doctor, and I've delivered babies as a nurse and in residency or internship. And I can tell you, doctors don't make a mistake when a baby is born with male and female genitalia. And there's some who would like you to believe that this is just a culture war. This is just a way to rile a base. There weren't organized women's sports when I went to school. I didn't have the opportunities that the women behind me have, coming from a very poor, very humble background. And Title IX was introduced to give women an opportunity to do that, to play sports. We already had the opportunity to be academically excellent. Why does this matter? That is because biologically there is a difference between males and females. Males have longer muscle, striated muscle. They have greater muscle strength. They have greater heart volumes and cardiac performance. So there is a biological difference between the ability to compete as a male and as a female. And let's not get into even what you have to see in the locker room without notice. I have been spoken to by coaches, both male and female. And let's not mistake, the University of Iowa women Hawkeyes who were in the Final Four and championship this year, besting our men. But they were playing against people of the same sex on a level playing field. I'm proud to support this bill. I am proud to support women. Make no mistake. This is not a culture war. They are trying to diminish and erase who we are as women, and I will not stand for it. I'm proud to vote for this bill.
Next, we will hear from Nancy Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you. For years, the left has been telling us to follow the science. Well, today, Republicans are following the science by protecting women and girls in sports. At the age of 14, I was molested by a friend of one of my coaches. At the age of 16, I was raped by a classmate in high school. Before a woman ever sets foot in a locker room, before she ever sets foot on the courts, before she ever first dives for her first swim meet, she's already in a vulnerable position. And we need to protect our women and girls in sports because of these vulnerabilities. And we have worked too damn hard to put up with the bullshit of the left that wants to take our achievements away from us. It took 100 years After the women's suffrage and women got the right to vote, before South Carolina ever had its first female Republican ever elected to Congress. It took 154 years for the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina, to have its first ever woman to graduate from the Citadel. And the left wants to take these rights and achievements away from women and girls. I'm a girl mom also. My girl is an athlete. I cannot imagine her having to be put in that position where there is a biological male in her locker room. Or if she's trying to compete for a college scholarship, that it gets taken away by a man who's much stronger and has much greater physical capabilities than she does. It's complete and total bullshit. It's cruel because of all of, I would be remiss if I didn't curse today, but because of all the glass ceilings that we have broken, you see many women history makers here today, we need to protect our women and girls, and this is the first step. There's a lot of talk in the mainstream media about women's rights. Well, today, Republicans are leading the fight for women's rights everywhere, for every girl across the country. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand it over to a member of the Citadel family, Ms. Carol Miller.
Good morning, everyone. It seems to me that the Biden administration and the Democrats have lost common sense. They've thrown it out the window. As a mother of sons, I know from both sides because I was from a family of all girls. I remember in 7th grade when we first all went into locker rooms. The boys went in one, the girls went in the other. During adolescence, children are embarrassed. They're embarrassed among their own sex because some people are developing and some people are not. Why in the world would we throw all of these people in the same room? We talk about mental health. Somebody needs some mental health with this legislation that they're trying to do. They claim to be a party of science, but they are completely disregarding science. Anyone that had an anatomy class understands, as the doctors have already said, that physiologically we are made differently. Women are made to give birth. Their hips are different than men's hips. We talk about muscles, talk about hearts. We are different. And anyone that grew up in the 60s and fought for women's rights should not fall for this trap. We fought too long and too hard to have our own equality. Anyone who ever had civics, I'm not sure they teach it anymore, understands that one person's rights end where the next person's rights begin. We all have rights. I'm very proud to support this bill. And I don't know who's next. You do.
Yes. Next, we will go to Jen Kiggins from Virginia.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you all today. And I'm speaking here today as a former female athlete, a mother of 2 daughters who are athletes, a lifelong runner, and a former coach of girls' sports teams. I feel passionately about this issue and wanted to convey just how important it is to protect women's sports for future generations. This bill is not about discriminating against any group of people, but rather protecting the benefits of allowing biological girls to push themselves and to bond over a shared physical goal. Allowing women to excel in a physical activity promotes teamwork, sportsmanship, and self-confidence. Women's sports offer opportunities for young girls to discover their strengths and to teach them that hard work pays off. Title IX protected these opportunities and allowed young women in this country to compete and win in fair fields of play. Biological men and women are physiologically different and should be respected for those differences. Failing to acknowledge these differences takes away opportunity for girls and women to succeed on the playing field, and we cannot allow for that to happen. I'm proud to support the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, and I strongly urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. We will now hear from Maria Elvira Salazar of Florida.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman Stefani, for giving us the opportunity and for the news media to be picking up the thoughts and the position that the GOP females are taking on this issue. In my case, I'm representing the female Latinas, Browns, Hispanics in the country. And even though some of you may not understand what they think or know the culture, but It's very simple, and that's why I'm here representing the largest minority in the country. For us, for Hispanics, nature gave you a biology and a genetic code, period, male or female. Now, in 2023, science has given anyone the opportunity to change that reality. We respect that, but that does not mean that the biology and the genetic code has changed. For 50 years, as my colleagues have said, women have fought to have women's sports where human beings with the same biology and that same genetic code can compete against each other on a level playing field. But now the Democratic Party and many in that organization want to change the rules of that game and use science to go against nature. And we don't like it, and we don't approve of it. It's very dangerous. What's happening is very disrespectful, and it's despicable. Because you have, in this country, thank God for this country, that we have individual freedom to choose your own happiness. But that does not give you the freedom to take advantage of others. So that's why we highly support this bill. And thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Well, thank you to all of our women Republican members. I know I speak for all of the strong Republican women members of Congress that we are so inspired every day by these young women athletes who are speaking out on this important issue. And I'm excited to introduce Macy Petty, who is an NCAA volleyball athlete, to share her story with you today. Macy.
From South Carolina. Yes, from South Carolina. Oh, I'm going to have to raise this because I'm a little tall. Hi, everybody. My name is Macy Petty. I am a current NCAA volleyball player and a Young Women for America ambassador. I am very proud to stand up here with all of these strong women who are willing to defend female athletics. It is something that has given me the educational opportunities that I have today. Being an NCAA athlete was not an easy accomplishment. It was something that I decided that I was willing to work and sacrifice most of my middle and high school career for. I was that girl in high school, never got to go to prom, never got to go on all these crazy vacations because my weekends were spent in the gym, traveling all around to these club volleyball tournaments to try and get recruited. And so at one of these volleyball tournaments, I walked up to the court, I looked at my opponent, and it was a boy. I did not sign up to be in a co-ed league. I signed up to be in a women's league. And I also looked around the court and saw that there were tons of college recruiters there to examine my athletic ability. This was my chance to show off all of the work that I had been training for these past couple years. I mean, my whole life for. And so I would also like to note that a men's volleyball net is over 7 inches higher than a women's volleyball net. So when we were competing against this athlete, the boy was playing on a net 7 inches shorter than he should have. So these college recruiters, instead of being able to examine the skills that I had been working for my whole life, they watched this boy slam the ball in our faces. I am blessed by God to stand here as an NCAA athlete, which I am very proud of because of all the hard work that I've put in and all the opportunities that women have been fighting for me. And I'm proud to stand here and hopefully continue to fight for the next generation of female athletes. And I'm so proud to stand up here with all of these strong voices who hear the female athletes and are willing to stand up for us. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.